For years, overthinking wasn't always preparing me for what could happen. Sometimes it was me trying to control what I couldn't control. I've always been somebody who thinks ahead. Before I make a decision, I've probably played out 5 or 10 different outcomes that could happen. What could go wrong? What am I forgetting? What happens if this thing doesn't work out? What's plan B? What's plan C, D, E, F? I mean, I'm talking overthinking to the max. But eventually I had to ask myself, at what point does preparation actually becomes procrastination? Trying to anticipate every single problem before it even happened. Feeling like you needed to know everything before making any type of decision. Difficulty delegating because doing it yourself felt safer. That's what I had struggles with becoming a supervisor. I was so used to doing everything on my own, it was hard for me to kind of delegate responsibilities to people that I was supervising. That took me some years to actually do that, because it just felt safer doing everything myself, because I'm overthinking what can go wrong. So if I put my hands on it, that means I can control it more. I wasn't just trying to make sure things got done. I was trying to eliminate the possibility of something going wrong. But leadership doesn't give you that type of luxury. Sometimes things will go wrong. Creating content. I think everybody usually go through this. Just thinking about the video before recording it. Reworking ideas over and over again, looking at thumbnails over and over again, looking at titles, reworking titles, looking at analytics, and just psyching yourself out, trying to predict the reaction before you've even uploaded the content. I was trying to get information from my future that hadn't even happened yet. Then we think about fatherhood. When my first daughter was born, just looking at her, just trying to make predictions, overthinking, like, what if I don't do this right? What if I get this wrong? What if this happened, right? Just think about, what if I mess up? What if I'm not the example that she needs? Just overthinking all these things before she even had a chance to get out of the hospital. Yeah, so that's overthinking to the next level, overthinking to the max, right? It's a psychological trap in itself, overthinking it is. You can sit still and feel like you're working because your brain is exhausted. And the reason being is because you've overanalyzed, you've predicted, you planned, rehearsed, reconsidered, planned again. And with all those things, you can feel super exhausted. All right, so at the end of it, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're mentally worn out, and that's how I think burnout happens, right? But what did you actually do? Mental exhaustion can trick you into believing you've been productive. And really, you haven't, right? You've been counterproductive. Like, you spent a bunch of energy. That doesn't necessarily mean we've made progress, though. And it is counterproductive. Preparation is valuable, don't get me wrong. Planning is valuable. Thinking ahead is valuable and needed. I'm not saying don't do that, because I still do, obviously. But preparation should eventually produce action. And if we spend too much time in the planning stage, we will never get to the action. It's procrastination. If I have enough information to make a reasonable decision and I'm still searching for certainty, I'm probably not preparing anymore. At that point, I'm delaying, I'm procrastinating. I'm letting things overtake me that it shouldn't, like fear. And it's a deeper truth to that, right? So you cannot think your way into certainty. Life doesn't offer that. Marriage doesn't offer that. Fatherhood doesn't offer that. Leadership doesn't offer that, right? So creating content doesn't offer that. Business doesn't offer that. Like, whatever you do does not offer you to be able to think your way into certainty. You got to put action to it and just trust the process. At some point you move without knowing exactly how everything would turn out, and that's the fear in it all. But it's something we have to do, and it scares the crap out of me. So we gotta get to the point where we're asking, do I need more information, or am I just afraid to make the decision? That's rule number one. Give decisions a deadline. At some point, you're going with the best information available. Accept correctable mistakes. Not every decision needs to be perfect anyway, because many decisions can be changed. Leave room for life. You cannot plan every conversation, reaction, opportunity, failure, or outcome. We have to relinquish some control, and I think that's the hardest part. Maybe the biggest one of them all is act before you feel completely ready, which is scary. So I still think ahead. I still plan ahead. I wouldn't be me if I didn't. I still catch myself playing out scenarios that haven't happened yet. So I'm not sitting here telling you I conquered overthinking, because I didn't. This video is more about thinking through that whole process of overthinking. I'm telling you, I finally stopped confusing it with preparation and understanding what it actually is, and started working through it. Preparation helps you move. Overthinking gives you another reason to wait, and we have to know the difference. So let me leave you with this. Are you actually preparing, or are you trying to eliminate the risk of moving?